juggles 35 separate relationships. And when they start coming to church, they need to add about 6 more. 41 relationships for the average American family. And still, across America, people left and right are experiencing what is called crowded loneliness. Facebook ain't going to fix it. Twitter ain't going to fix it. Instagram's not going to fix it. Text messaging's not going to fix it. FaceTime's not going to fix it. It's called crowded loneliness. People are living in bubbles left and right. And tonight I feel like God is saying, loners, whether you're in a crowd or whether you're on the peripheral, it's time for us to connect on a deeper level. Maybe you have a fear of being known, right? Maybe that's what it is. It's a fear of being known. That once I'm figured out, I want to go to a new community where I'm not known for my flaws, but I have a clean slate. I've been in ministry for a long time, and my dad is a pastor as well, and we knew who the church hoppers were in our city. And what was sad when I started to see the pattern of these church hoppers, it was this: they would go burn their bridges and then they go somewhere else. They go burn their bridges and go somewhere else. Eventually, they just couldn't wrap their hearts around the idea that a community could have grace for them. So they would leave before the confrontation. Once I'm embarrassed or figured out, I'm out of here. And you know what the reality is? Everyone has flaws. I have flaws, you have flaws, me too. Those are powerful words. But there's one word for those of you who struggle to be known. It's called grace. To be known is to be loved, and to be loved is to be known. I don't think I feel more loved by my wife, which, by the way, men, when you get married, you get some serious accountability. I don't think I feel more loved than when my wife calls me out on something. Like, you really notice that about me? Brother Jake, you really notice that about me? You really notice that? You care enough about me that you notice that? That's love. Psychologists in 1955, based on this study, they came up with this model of self-awareness called Johari's window. Have you ever heard of it? And it's an interesting window, and it's broken up into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. Quadrant 1 is called the arena. Chicken scratch. Quadrant 2 is called the blind spot. Quadrant 3 is called the facade. And quadrant 4 is called the unknown. Johari's window, 1955. And that quadrant 1 of the arena basically is this: that when it comes to our relationships and our self-awareness, this first quadrant represents this. These are the things that I see and I know others see about me. Right? These are the things that I see about myself and that others see, and I know that they see them. But quadrant 2 is the blind spot. These are the things that I don't see about myself, but that others see about me. These are the things that I don't see and others see. These are, and then this other quadrant, number 3, the facade, are the things that I see and others don't see. And then the 4th quadrant, the unknown, these are the things that I don't see about me and other people don't see about me. That's major. Let me say those again. Quadrant 1, things I see and others see. Quadrant 2, things I don't see and others see. Quadrant 3, things I see and others don't see. And quadrant 4, things I don't see and others don't see, the unknown. And I wonder how many believers, or I wonder how many people in general, are stuck in number 3, the facade. How many are stuck in this thing where they believe or they try to live this life based on things that they see but they don't want other people to see. They keep them away from it. But the reality is that many of you aren't aware of quadrant number 2, and that's called your blind spot. Don't be afraid of intimate relationships where people are allowed to see your weaknesses. This is the house of God. We are the people of God. We are the family of God. This is a place of grace. And if you're not comfortable with people seeing you for who you are, then you are robbing yourself of maturity in your life and growth. Proverbs 27:6 says this. One of my favorite verses ever. The wounds of a friend are faithful, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. I like how another version says, it says profuse are the kisses of an enemy. But the wounds of a friend are faithful. Man, profuse, just make a comparison between those two things. You can have these profuse kisses from an enemy. They're telling me what I want to hear. They're telling me what I want to hear. But you run from the wounds of a true friend. That when somebody's got to call you into the carpet, Mr. or Mrs. Loner, or Miss Loner, you don't like it. You want the kisses, but you don't want the wounds of a friend. You are robbing yourself. You are robbing yourself. You're okay with hanging. You think all that exists is quadrant 1. You think that you exist in quadrant 3, but the reality is most people don't want to go to quadrant 2 and say, I want people to correct me on my blind spots. I want to do this alone. But check this out. We do not wrestle. We put on the armor. And what about quadrant 4? You talk about grace. I don't think there's an area in my life that is more filled with grace than quadrant 4. What does that mean? That there is stuff inside of me that is so jacked up that I don't even realize it. That I have such a propensity for sin that I don't even realize that that sin is inside of me. People don't see it. I don't see it. My wife doesn't see it. But I know somebody who has eyes, whose eyes are looking throughout the earth for hearts that are for him. And he sees me inside and out. And he sees every messed up thing in my life. Even the things that I don't see. Quadrant 4 is so full of grace. Quadrant 4 is so full of grace. What does Isaiah 1:18 say? Come, let us reason together. Though your sins are as scarlet, I will make them white as snow. Sin like scarlet, it's so deeply stained. The fiber of our beings are so deeply stained that we're not even aware of them. And yet, He's forgiven those things as it is. We haven't even had a chance for them to surface and to have to confess them. He has already forgiven even the unknown in our lives. Isn't that powerful? God has loved you and already accepted you and washed it away by the blood of Christ. And so here you are redeemed, but you're missing out if you think you're missing out if you just want to hang out on the facade phase. What I'm saying is, let your guard down, go to retreat, and go get known. Because